everybody, this is Dave Walsh, host of Card Talk, and I am making another video playthrough of my Angmar Awakened campaign, and we are now in the Wastes of Eraidor. I lost one time outright, and then I made a silly mistake, or maybe not silly, but just a mistake with the rules. I looked up an older ruling that said that shadow effects are not considered encounter card effects, but that ruling apparently has changed since that ruling was made. So I just want to make sure that I get a nice, clean playthrough of this quest, as clean as it can be, so that we don't have to feel like I cheated my way through the Wastes of Eraidor. So I am playing the scenario semi-blind. At this point, it's probably not semi-blind because I've probably seen all there is to see. But that means that I have played the scenario when it first came out. Well, maybe not when it first came out, but I played the scenario a bunch of times. I actually like this scenario a lot. But I wasn't looking at any of the campaign cards. So let's deal a hand, and then we will zoom in and take a look and set this up correct. I don't mind this hand, but I'm going to mulligan. I'm stuck with this, so I guess we'll see how it all works itself out. So let's take a look at the scenario setup, and we'll zoom in on that and see what other kinds of campaign setup there is, and we'll even zoom in on my hand that I have. So here we are at 1A of the first quest card, Across the Wastes. And so we had that surprise attack that we just had at Dead Man's Dyke, and so now Amarthiel is going to help us track the villains. So the setup of this quest says set a pack leader aside out of play, make Shrouded Hills the active location. So we won't look at pack leader, but let's take a look at Shrouded Hills. So the Shrouded Hills is an X threat 5 quest point location, and it really just says X is the number of quest cards in play, and if there's only just one quest card in play, Shrouded Hills gains Surge. So 5 quest points is kind of a lot. It'd be nice to be able to get through that location in the first round, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. So then the next thing it says is add the time objective to the staging area with Daybreak face up. So there we have the time objective. I was a little nervous when I first saw this because I was like, oh, time. That's a silly mechanic that they used very heavy-handedly in the Ringmaker cycle, and I just didn't like the time mechanic. But this time mechanic I don't mind, especially since it's just one scenario, and it runs differently. But when it's Daybreak, enemies don't make engagement checks, and you're forced to return all the enemies to the staging area when it turns to Daybreak. And that's a pain in the neck because you can only optionally engage one enemy. So if you have 2 or 3 enemies that you can dispatch of in the staging area, you can't do it during Daybreak. But at the end of the round, you have to flip it to Nightfall. So let's see what Nightfall is. Nightfall says progress cannot be placed on quest cards. They can still be placed on locations, so that's good. But the thing that I screwed up on was where it says encounter card effects cannot be canceled. I should have researched the rule a little bit more. I did find a ruling way back when Nate French was the one doing the rulings where it said encounter card effects do not include shadow card effects, but then there was a later ruling by Caleb that overrode that said that shadow card effects are encounter card effects. When it becomes night, you have to reveal an encounter card. That's a forced effect, and then at the end of the round you flip the objective back. So it's kind of like you get a very clear sense of it. It's where it's day and then it's night. It's day and it's night, which I appreciate from a storytelling point of view. So then it says the first player takes control of Amarthiel. We'll look at Amarthiel in a minute, and then shuffle the encounter deck. I did that and reveal 1 card from the encounter deck per player, and I ended up getting the North Downs. So the North Downs just says while it is night, North Downs gets +2 threat, and keep in mind that +2 threat isn't when it's in the staging area or the active location. It's just a modifier that's it's a passive modifier. So anywhere it is, it gets a +2 threat while it's night out. So 1B side just says that heroes get +1 willpower during day, which is great. That's when you want the extra willpower boost to make progress on the quest. So that's good. And 20 quest points is a lot. And then it says when it becomes night, raise each player's threat by 1. And for any new player out there, realize that that's on top of the 1 that you raise your threat at the end of each round, just based on the framework of the game. So this is an additional 1 when it becomes night. So Amarthiel is the objective ally here, and he's the one that's going to help us find Earion, or the people who captured Earion. His response is something that I won't ever be able to trigger because I'm the only player in the game, so I can't pass Amarthiel around. And then I did choose Amarthiel's Courage because that has a setup action or a setup effect, which means it comes into play right during setup. You don't have to draw it or anything, which I prefer to have cards in play from the very beginning as opposed to drawing them. So I attach Amarthiel's Courage to Amarthiel, and he gets +1 willpower and +1 hit point, which makes him a little bit better defender with the extra hit point, and he's worth sending to the quest with the extra willpower. And I have an action that I can use once per game where I can ready him. So that's not too shabby. So let's take a look at the campaign card and see what else we have to worry about. So the campaign card here, Wastes of Eraidor, this is part 4 of the campaign. There's 9 quests in the campaign, or 9 scenarios. So we're just on this side of halfway. We need to get to Mount Graham in order to be halfway. Each player may change his hero cards without incurring the +1 threat penalty. I'm going to stick with these heroes, so that's not anything that I'm going to worry about. And then it says each player adds 1 copy of Determination to their starting hand. So let's take a look at that card. Determination here, it's an event, which is nice because you can play that during any action window. You don't have to wait for the planning phase to play. It's not an attachment. But you play it and then it becomes attached, and then you get to ready a unique character. And then it readies every other character that has had Determination on it in previous scenarios. So it's kind of like you can pass it around each scenario, and then you can use it to ready a whole bunch of characters by the end of the campaign. That's why you have to keep track of who is determined. It says shuffle Fend Off Despair side quest in the encounter deck. Now I am playing semi-blind again, but I saw Fend Off Despair in one of my other scenarios, but I won't look at it now. Well, if we draw it, we'll take a closer look at it. The only other thing that I'm going to show you is the permanent condition that I have on Thranduil. So I picked Cunning because it has 2 extra resources in the hero's pool. It is a setup again, just like Amarthiel's Courage. And it's permanent. The permanent means that it only can go on Thranduil. It can't be passed around. I can't set it up and put it on other people. But he also gets +2/+2/+2 until the end of the phase once per game, which can help in a pinch if I need some defense, typically, or maybe I'm making a big questing push. Who knows? This Cunning is kind of funny because I panned it when I first saw it, and then I ended up choosing that one. So that's the campaign card. So let's take a look at my hand. So on the left, I have the Galathra Minstrel, and so the Minstrel is kind of like the glue that holds together a Sylvan deck, because when it comes into play, you can read it there, but you search the top 5 cards of your deck to find an event, any event. Which is nice. And then you shuffle all the other cards back into your hand. And so you get to find 0 cost events there. Or you can find that card that's on the right, which is a Test of Will. So I do have a Test of Will in my hand as well. I have an Unexpected Courage. And then I have the Greenwood Archer. The Greenwood Archer is great because when he comes into play, he readies a hero. So when you can use Galadriel's ability to draw a card and reduce your threat by 1, but then bring in a Greenwood Archer, and then you have her ready to, as long as you have Nenya, to be able to use Nenya's ability to add her willpower to somebody else during the quest. And then the last two cards I have in my hand are the Marksman of Lorien and Elfriend. The Marksman is kind of the standard attacking guy, because the time he comes into play, like the round he comes into play, the enemy will get -2 defense. And since I'm playing with Celeborn, he's also going to be attacking for 4 that turn. So that's like a 3-point swing. That's like attacking for 6 the first round he comes into play. So the Marksmen of Lorien are very, very good to have in this deck. Now, the only way I can bring it out is with Thranduil's combat action, but that's okay. And then the Elfriend is a 1-of card I have in this deck just to put onto Galadriel, because she's a Noldor, and the Sylvan Tracker only heals Sylvans. So I give her the Sylvan trait, and that allows me to heal her. I could put it on a Marthiel too, because then I could heal a Marthiel. But the problem with that is if I get the Host of the Glathrum and I have it on a Marthiel, that means that a Marthiel would come back up into my hand, and that means a Marthiel leaves play and I lose the game. So I don't want to do that. So for now, during the campaign, I guess Elfriend is relegated to Galadriel, which is kind of the reason why I had that in there anyways. Okay, so that's my hand. That's the setup. So let's zoom back out and take a look and get started here. So I'm going to do the setup action on the One Ring. And with this, I find the Defendi Master card. This is the one that gives him +1 defense, plus I'm able to cancel a shadow effect. And now I'm going to give myself resources. Thranduil gets more resources. And now I draw. And I get Henemarth Riversong. I can't play Henemarth, but he's great for a one-player game because it allows me to look at the top card of the encounter deck. Okay, and now I'm going to use Galadriel's ability to lower my threat by 1. And draw a card. And I get a second Test of Will. So I guess I will play Elfriend onto Galadriel. And I think I'm going to stop there. I know that this sounds silly, but I don't have much I can do. Okay, so I guess I have to quest here. So I'm going to quest with everybody. 2. And then this guy gets an extra 1 here, so that's 6. And that's going to be 8. And right now, right in the staging area, there's just 1. So my Cardboard of the Rings 2-player playmat's going to have my own threat. I think that this is big enough that you can see it. And then here, the encounter card playmat has the amount of threat in the staging area. This is my willpower. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's see what we get here. So I get a White Warg. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so it says the White Warg. After a White Warg engages you, deal 1 damage to a character you control, 2 damage instead if it is night. Okay, so that's not horrible. So now the thing is, if I engage this thing, I'm going to have a defender, which I can probably figure out somehow. It's only attacking for 2, so it's not like a horrible thing. Anyways, well, let's see what we get, and we'll go from there. Okay, so the White Warg goes in the staging area, and that increases my threat by 2. So it's 3 versus 8. I made exactly 5, which helps me a ton. Okay, so I'll put the discard down. Okay, so now I'm going to travel to get this out of the staging area. And then I think that I am going to engage this guy. And by engaging him, I have to deal 1 damage to a character I control. So Marthiel is that character. I'm going to deal it a shadow card. And I think I'm going to take it undefended. It's crazy because taking something undefended means I have to put damage on a hero, but 2 damage isn't a ton. I don't know. We'll see what happens. No shadow effect. So I have to put 2 damage somewhere. So 2 damage goes on Celeborn. Okay, and now I'm going to spend 3 on my combat action to bring in the Marksman of Lorien. Now remember, I said the Marksman of Lorien is really good for combat because I get to lower his defense by 2. So he's a 1 defense with 3 hit points, and this guy's attacking for 4. So I get to attack and kill this, and that's pretty good. Oh, and Arnor Ravaged, which I didn't get a chance, which I didn't go over in the intro, which I'll do now. Let's take a look at what Arnor Ravaged does. And so Arnor Ravaged gets set up, and it gets damage equal to the amount of damage marked on it in the campaign log, which was 1. And then after an attack damages a character, which that White Ward just did, I have to put 1 more damage from Arnor Ravaged there. Now this only has the 1, so I'm just going to take this one and put it right on Celeborn. So now Arnor Ravaged is in essence done. Okay, I could see that this could have been a big pain in the neck if I would have let 3, 4, 5, 6 damage get on it, but you just know that something crazy is happening when you can ignore a side quest like that. So, anyways, and I don't know why this is on Nightfall. This should be on Daybreak. I must have kept it on Nightfall while I was doing my introductions. So, okay, it's still Daybreak. I guess we ready? Raise my threat, and it is the end of the round, so we have to turn this over. And so when it becomes night, based on the quest card, I have to raise my threat an extra 1. So I'm at 30, and now I have to reveal an encounter card. And I get Biting Wind, which is a quest treachery, which is a great card to see when it turns here. So in the staging area, I actually have 0. Okay, so now we do some resources here and draw a card. And I do get the Galathrim Weaver. So let's take a look at that. So the Weaver's downside is that it can't attack or defend, so you can't chump with her. But after she enters play, you take the top card of your discard pile and shuffle it into your deck. So that's very strong, especially with Sylvans when you want to have these 0 cost events continue to recur. I am going to lower my threat. Draw a card, and I get another Unexpected Courage. So I'm going to take the Unexpected Courage, and I'm going to put it onto Thranduil. Now that leaves me without a resource to cancel something with a Test of Will, but that's the penalty, I guess, for what's going on. Oh, I can't cancel anything with a Test of Will anyways because it's Nightfall. Okay, so I'm going to quest for 2, 5, 6, but I'm going to ready Thranduil. Okay, So we have 6 versus 0. And predatory rules. Each player must choose to either discard the highest cost ally he controls or search the encounter deck, reveal it, and add it to the staging area. I think this would be a good time to find a warg. I'm not really in a really difficult place right now, so I'll do that. Okay, so let's take a look at the Northern Warg. So on the left, that was the treachery I drew. It just says either discard the highest card ally or. So because it says must choose, that means that I can choose either one. So if the choose wasn't there, then I don't have to do the first. And then if the first can't do the first, then you'd have to do the second. But I get to choose. So I picked the Northern Warg because it says each Warg enemy gets +1 threat until the end of the phase. That's all right because I only have to worry about the one Warg. So I'll have 3 threat in the staging area against 6, which barely just doesn't clear the location, but it's fine for now. Okay, so I get to put 3 progress on the current location. I have 3 in the staging area, and now I get to choose what I want to do here. So I'm going to engage this guy. He does nothing during engagement. And deal him a shadow card. Let's see, he defends for 3, or he attacks for 3. Thranduil defends for 3. So I'll defend with Thranduil. No shadow. That's a good place to see a bloodthirsty warg. Okay, and now I'm going to... I want to use Thranduil's combat action to bring in something, but I also want to be able to kill this. So this guy's attacking for 3, and anything that I would be bringing in is going to have some extra bonuses. So I think the thing to do is to bring in Henemarth, because that's going to help me quest. So I'll bring in Henemarth. Henemarth is attacking for 2, so that's going to be 2, 5, and that kills the Northern Warg. Okay, so at the end of the round, or well, let's do the refresh phase here. Raise my threat. And now I flip this over, and nobody comes back to the staging area, and now I can make hopefully all sorts of progress on the quest. Okay, so resource phase. Everybody gets their... I draw a card, and I get the Elven King, which is great for readying. Now I'm going to lower my threat and draw a card. And I get Haldir of Lorien. He's just a very standard ally. He's got 2 will, 2 attack, 2 defense, and he's ranged and sentinel, and costs 4. So there's nothing that special about Haldir. He's beefy, which is nice, but right now I can't do anything with it. So I'm going to use Henemarth Riversong to look at the top card of the deck. And the top card of the deck is Frozen Blast. It's Doom 2, and it says when revealed, remove each damaged character from the quest. Okay, well, the only damaged... Oh, I have 2 damaged characters. So I'm probably going to end up canceling that, which is why I love Henemarth. I feel like I'm moving a little slow. I don't have Nenya, I don't have a ton of allies on the board, but I do have some things in my hand that allow me to be a little tricky for right now. So, okay, so I am going to quest. I will quest for 2, 6, 8. Okay, and then this comes out. and I am going to use Test of Will. To cancel this, I still have to do the Doom 2, though. Okay, but I make 8, and there's none in the staging area. So that's going to be 1, and then 5, 6, 7. So I get through the location here. That's done. I think I'm going to use his combat. Despite there not being combat, because I don't have any enemies to engage, I can still use a combat action. And I think that combat action, I think I'm going to bring out the Minstrel. And the reason why I'm doing that, it seems strange to do that, but it's because I don't have the lore resource icon. So I'm trying to bring out some of my lore folks before, so that I can have them on the board. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the best card, I only have Island Amid Perils, which lowers threat, and I have Feigned Voices, which cancels an attack. So Feigned Voices is it. That's the card that I want to see. Okay, so now we ready. Raise our threat and flip this over. Okay, because it's nightfall, we reveal an encounter card, and we do this. These are forced, and they have the same trigger, so it doesn't matter which one I do first. So I will do this, and then I'll flip over an encounter card. And it is Rugged Country. It says if the current quest is a side quest, which it is not. Okay, that's a bummer because I can't travel to it right now. That's the problem with out-of-phase reveals, is that the game can catch up to you. Again, this is a pretty standard location. I raised my threat. So now the resource phase, draw a card, and I get the Host of the Glathrum, which is a great card for kind of end game if you're feeling like you need to get a push, but right now that card's not going to help. And let's see, I'm going to exhaust Galadriel, lower my threat, and draw a card. And I get Nenya. So this is why I do all this now. So I'm going to take Nenya. I'm going to put Nenya into play here. And now I'm going to put the Greenwood Archer into play. And so that readies Galadriel. And now the last thing that I can do is, I think I'm going to play Inner Strength. I can't cancel anything with my Test of Will. So if I play Inner Strength, that gives me a +1 defense bonus and allows me to cancel Shadow Effect, provided that it's not nighttime. So there's only 2 in the staging area. I'm going to just see what the top card is. And it's a Northern Warg. We saw that earlier. It's the one that gives everybody +1. So I just need to really get quest over 5. There's 3, 4, 5. So this thing quests for 1 without doing anything, because he's what do I want to say? He just came into play. So I'm going to use his, I'm just going to quest with him. This comes into play, and that's 3 threat. And so now we're at 5. And then I'm going to use Galadriel to boost his willpower to 5. So 5 versus 5. I don't make any progress, but doesn't matter because it's nighttime or nightfall. Okay, so now I'm going to travel to rugged country, and I'm going to engage this guy. Okay, so I deal this guy a shadow card. Now, if this is a bad shadow, I can't cancel it. I just have to deal with it. Okay, so I will defend with Thranduil. Thranduil is defending for 4. I want that side quest. Okay, but that's fine. Okay. So no damage to Thranduil, and I can attack for 3, 6. This guy dies. Okay. So I'm back to nothing in here. I get to ready everybody to raise my threat, and I get to flip this over. I get a second host of the Galathrim. Okay. Oh, I am going to use Henemarth here because that's going to help me decide if I need to use Test of Will or whatever. And so there's the Predatory Wolves. So that's the one that goes and brings out a Warg enemy. Okay, so I'm going to bring out the Galathrim Weaver. That takes the top card of my discard pile and shuffles it back into my deck. Okay, that's all shuffled up. I have a lot of attachments that I can play here. I think I'm going to save up for Haldir. So now it's time to quest. So this guy's questing for 2. No quest 3. Seven. 9. So that's 9. Oh. 11. Okay. So I will take the Predatory Wolves, and I'll find the Northern Warg. Okay, so that's 3 in the staging area, and I have 11. I don't want to get through this, actually. I don't want to get to the second stage until I'm more set up than this. I don't know what more I need to get set up, but I just feel like I'm not ready to move along here. So 11 and 3 is 8. So I'll clear the location and I'll make 5 progress. And now I'm going to optionally engage this because Daybreak, they don't make engagement checks. Okay, so here's this. Deal it a shadow card. And the thing is now I can cancel stuff if I need to. I'll defend. And what happens? So Sudden Darkness Shadow Effect says to take the topmost Warg enemy in the discard pile and put it into play engaged. And so that would be another one of these northern Wargs. So can I cancel it? I can cancel it, but do I want to? Could I kill that other thing? I couldn't kill it, so I'm going to spend the 1 and exhaust the ring. And that will cancel that shadow effect. Okay, so then I'll do 5 and kill the northern Wargs. I will exhaust Galadriel to lower my threat by 1 and to draw a card. And I get Orphan. Okay, so we ready? Raise our threat by 1. Flip to Nightfall. Because I flipped to Nightfall, I raise my threat by another 1. And I have to deal myself a shadow card. And not deal myself a shadow card, but reveal a card. And so we get the Wolf of Angmar. So let's take a look at this. So the Wolf of Angmar is a Surgy warg that gets +2 attack when it is night. So let's see what it surges into. And it surges into each player into the Cold from Angmar, which blanks anybody who is damaged. That is a bummer because Celeborn is damaged and I don't get my extra bonuses when something comes into play. But this goes on the quest. So here's my Wolf of Angmar. Here's Cold from Angmar. Maybe now I want to get through this thing. So that way we can have these guys back. I don't know. Okay. I wouldn't be able to cancel it anyways. Okay, so let's give myself resources and let's draw a card. And I do get the Greenwood Archer, which is nice. So right now in the staging area is just one. Okay, just to see what I need to bring out and what I need to quest over, I'm going to use Henemarth. And let's see what happens. Okay, I get a White Warg. I make sure that I deal a damage to a hero that I control. So I need my healing here. Okay, well, I guess it's Galadriel that gets the damage. Okay, so I just have to do 3. So 1, 2. Let's do it like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this comes out. I make no progress because it's nightfall. I can't put progress on the quest. And now we have to engage a couple of these guys. And this says deal 2 damage if it's night. So Galadriel gets 2 more damage. Does it say a character? Okay, to a character. So I think I'm going to deal 2 damage to Amarthiel. I know that's living on the edge, but just needs to happen that way. Now I can't, because she's damaged, I can't use her draw and lower my threat. So that's a pain in the neck. Okay, so deal shadow cards. Okay, this guy's attacking for 4. Thranduil is defending for 4. So he will. Okay, let's see. It says attacking gets +1 for each damaged character a player has. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. So that's +3. Okay, so he's already attacking for 4, 3 damage. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use this defense bonus. So now he's defending for 6. He still takes a damage, and this is a bummer because I should have played Haldir, but it is what it is. So he's still defending for 6 and no shadow. Okay. So I have to do 6 here. Oh, he's exhausted. Okay. I have to do 4 here. So how can I do 4? I can do 2 and 2 to kill this. And then I can do, let's see, 6. How am I going to get 6? Now with Thranduil out, I can't use him to bring out the guy. I should have brought him out before the blanking of the text card. I should have known better. I would have been able to bring out Haldir, and that would have allowed me to kill this guy. So that's my own stupid thing. So I'm going to use Amarthiel's Courage to ready Amarthiel, and then that does 3, 6, and this guy dies. Okay. So I'm back to clean slate here. I get Olorien. Okay, so I'm going to spend 1 to put Olorien into play, but let's take a look at it. So Olorien is an attachment, and you have to put it on a hero. It doesn't matter what kind of hero, but it allows you to reduce the cost of the next Sylvan ally by 1. So, and you can't go below 1. So you can't reduce something to 0. So that's a great pseudo resource generation. It's like resource smoothing because it reduces the cost, and there's no there's no sphere restriction on it, so you can bring in a Sylvan of any sphere to do this. And just out of habit, I put Olorien on Celeborn. I have a lot of resources, and I should probably try to get through the quest here. So I'll use Henemarth. Oh, let's see. It is Daybreak. So I'm going to get the Wastes of Eraidor. Sorry, I'm going to get the Eraidor Wastes. So let's take a look at what this is going to do to me. So the Eraidor Wastes is a 3-threat, 5 quest point location, and it just says that while it's in the staging area, no more than 5 progress could be placed on the current quest. So I'm going to be stuck with Cold from Angmar for a little while. It says the first player engages a warg enemy in the staging area and deals it a shadow card. So here's the thing. There's no warg enemies in the staging area, so I can't travel. In order to travel, you have to do the travel effect. And I don't have any tech for making something the active location without using a travel effect. So I have to wait for a warg enemy to get into the staging area, and then I have to travel to it. So it's going to be stuck up in the staging area for a little bit. Okay, so the Eraidor Waste stays on top of my deck here until I start questing. Henemarth, this is how I do cards that so I know what it is. So I'm gonna have to go over 3, but I can't do any more than 8 because I can't put more than 5 progress here, and I can't travel. It's a pain in the neck. Now, I guess in theory, it's all right because I wanted to get set up a little more, but I also want to make sure that I don't thread out. I'm not really drawing. I do have some cancellation, like some. What do I want to like attack cancellation? But I may thread out here. So this is. I'm feeling the pressure. Anyways, so let's see. I can do 8. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? So I'm going to put this guy into play because I can't use Thranduil's ability. I might as well use up some of my resources, and then I'm going to bring in Orphan. Okay. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, heroes get plus. Oh, it's not going to matter. 8. Okay, so this comes out. Surprise! And then I can't travel to it, so I get to do 5 here. I can't use his combat action. I can't do anything. This is hamstringing me, so I'm in a real strange spot here. Okay. So, are we ready? Raise threat. Flips over to Nightfall. So we raise our threat again. And then reveal an encounter card. And it's a side quest. Characters cannot be healed. So Make Camp is a side quest. Characters can't be healed. After Make Camp is defeated, each player heals up to 3 damage from a hero controls, which is great. It's something that I can really use, but now I have to surge. So what's the surge going to be? So we surge into the Wolf of Angmar, which then surges. So what do we surge into next? Then we surge into the Bloodthirsty Warg. So while Bloodthirsty Warg is in the staging area, it gains forced when it becomes night. Bloodthirsty Warg engages the first player, makes an immediate attack. Okay, so it already just became night, so we don't have to worry about that right away. Okay, so, but I am going to have to engage both of these guys. Okay, so this is the Wolf, the Warg of Angmar. This is the Wolf of Angmar, and this is the Bloodthirsty Warg, and this is the side quest. Okay, so I'll give myself some resources and draw. And I get another Feigned Voices, which is great. Just so I can defend, I'm going to put a Unexpected Courage onto Thranduil. So that's the second Unexpected Courage on Thranduil. And I can't make progress on any quest card, and I don't have a location, so I have to do 6 at least. But let's take a look at what we get. And it's a Warg's Den. Oh boy. And the Warg's Den is immune to player card effects. So I'm going to have to get up to 10 here. I'm actually going to put Arnor Revenged. I'm actually going to put Arnor Ravaged under the thing here because I need a little space here. So there's going to be 10. Maybe I can get there. I don't know. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this comes out. Let's take a look at the Warg Den. So it's 4 threat, but just 1 quest point. The first player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a Warg enemy, reveals it, and puts it into play, engaged with him. So that's not horrible if I didn't have 2 other Wargs out there right now. So I'm probably going to pick to travel to the other thing, because then I can engage something and it'll be okay. So this is going to stay in the shadow, in the staging area for a bit. Okay, so I need to do 10. Is that what I did? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, good. So I will bring out this. I will use Galadriel since she's not good for using her ability. And I quest even. I don't quest successfully, but then I don't... whatever. Okay. So I am going to okay, so let me make sure I do this right. I'm going to travel to the Eraidor Waste. So I have to engage a Warg enemy and deal it a shadow card. Okay. And now I'm going to engage this guy, because I have to. That gets rid of a lot of threat in the staging area. So I just got rid of 6 threat in the staging area, so I'm back to 4 here. Okay, and let's say we'll deal a shadow card here, and a shadow card here. And so now, Thranduil. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to Feigned Voices this guy and bring back the Galathrim Weaver. Okay. Okay, so that cancels this attack. Okay, which is nice. And now this attack, I guess I'm going to take... I will defend again with Thranduil. Thranduil is defending for 4. This guy's attacking for 4. And it says, exhaust a character I control. Okay, so who can I exhaust? Okay, so I guess I will exhaust the Greenwood Archer. I think that I forgot about this and the bonuses here when I quested the last time. I think I brought these guys into play and then I forgot that these were damaged. So I would have failed the quest by 2. So I'm at 40 because I had 2 come out and I used them to quest 8. And then they would have been exhausted, but I didn't have anything in the staging area to worry about. Okay. Okay, so this is done. And this is, so now I need to kill some stuff. Okay, so I need to do 4 here. Okay, so I'm gonna ready Thranduil. Okay. And I can do, let's see, can I do 7 here? I can do 7. And that kills this, the Bloodthirsty Warg. And then I have to be able to do, and I can't do that. Okay, so I'm going to play Determination onto a Marthiel to ready a Marthiel. Marthiel does 3, and Thranduil does 4, and that kills this guy. Okay. Okay. Great. So end of round. Erase my threat. Turn this over. Okay, so now I just need to do 8. I need to do 8 plus 4. Give myself some resources. 1, 2, 3. Draw a card. I got Rumil. Okay, we'll look at Rumil if he comes out here. I'm going to take Anamarth and look at what I'm up against. And I'm up against a Surgy Wolf of Angmar, which is a pain in the neck. I'll take this guy, play him for, or her for 1. No bonus, doesn't exhaust, has to exhaust a quest. But I get to take the top card of my discard pile and shuffle it into my deck. So I don't know how much I need to quest for, so I'm just going to quest for a bunch. 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, 10. 10. I'll quest for 10. Plus I can use hers to get me up to 15. So hopefully that's enough. 4 and 5 is 9 and 3 is 12. So, and I'm doing, let's see. Yeah, I'll quest with Thranduil too, because he's questing for an extra 2. So that's 12. Okay, so I'll do this, and then I'll surge. And I surged into the Shrouded Hills, which has X threat. This is the initial location that I had, so there's 2 threat there. So that's 7. Okay. So I am going to use Gladriel with Nenya to give myself an extra 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm at 17. So that's 7. 17 does 10. So that's 5 here. This leaves. And I do 5 here on the quest. Whew. Okay. So now the quest is done. So let's take a look at side 2A here. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Discard cards from the top until X warg enemies. X is the number of players in the game. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Or let's see what this gets us. So the card that I get is the Wolf of Angmar, which is great because it only gets added to the staging area, so it doesn't surge. Now let's see what the other side says. It says, when it becomes day, each player draws a card. When it becomes night, discard one non-objective ally from play. Discard 2 if there's 3 or more. So I'm going to have to make sure that I get through this quick. I need to lower my threat, and I need to get through this pretty quick. So, and it's 15 quest points, so hopefully I'm not limited anywhere with that. Okay, so we have the White Warg here. We have the Shrouded Hills, which is great for this. So I don't... I may make this the... I don't know, I just can't go through this 2 or 3 times. That's my problem. Okay. So I'm going to travel here. Oh, let me get rid of all this progress tokens. Okay. And I get to engage both of these folks. Now, the good news is I can, I now have cards to do stuff. So, doesn't matter which one's which. Okay, so I'm going to bring in Rumil. Let's see. Let me show you what Rumil does here. When you play Rumil from your hand, like with Thranduil's combat action, you choose an enemy engaged with a player. I can be the player. It doesn't have to be with another player. I'm going to deal X damage to it, and X is the number of ranged characters you control. So Rumil counts for himself, but I do have 4 other ranged characters, so that's a total of 5 damage I'm going to do to something, even before anything happens, so to speak. So I'm going to be able to get rid of a warg without having it attack. And Rumil is great because to do that damage is, what do I want to say, is very, very good. I'm able to do 5 damage directly. You know, he's just sniping people. As long as I can bring him back and forth into play. Okay, so Rumil comes into play, and he gets his bonuses because I don't have a cold from Angmar. I'm going to play I'm going to use Olorien, which reduces his costs by 1. And that does damage to this guy. Oh, you know what? I could only optionally engage 1 of these guys anyways. I can't do both. They don't make engagement checks. So that's the bummer of this being Daybreak. When it becomes night, discard 1 non-objective ally from play. Okay, so let's do that. Let's ready. We'll make it nighttime, and we'll reveal a card. And it's Biting Wind. Biting Wind is a questing treachery, so that's a great place for that. So I'm going to choose to discard to get rid of the Minstrel, Glathra Minstrel. Okay, I don't have to raise my threat more by an extra, but I will get 3 resources, and I'll draw a card. And I get the Neath Guide. Okay. So I want to make enough progress to get through the Warg's Den. And this Warg, he's going to engage. But then I also want to be able to clear the location. So let's see what we got in the... Now, whatever this is, I won't be able to cancel it. Okay, so I get to reveal 1 encounter card for each quest card in play. So I get to tap 2 more. So there's 5 in the staging area right now. And this is 5, so I need to do 10. So I'm going to do 2. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the Elven King. I'm going to play the Elven King onto Thranduil. So that allows me to ready Thranduil a whole bunch more. And it allows me to bring a Sylvan back up into my hand, which may end up being Rumil, because then I can bring Rumil back out. Like I can just keep sniping things if I need to. Okay, but questing here. Okay, 2, 3, 5. So that gets me through there. 6, 7. Let's see. 10. Okay. So this makes me have to reveal 2 more encounter cards. So let's see here. 1, it's Shrouded Hills. So that's 2 more threat. And then the second one is Predatory Wolves. Each player must choose to discard the highest cost ally I have. So that would be Rumil, which I don't want to do. Or search it and reveal it and add it to the staging area. So this is where the Northern Warg comes in. Okay, so that Northern Warg increases my threat by 4. So I was at, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm at 11. 10. And that doesn't get me through the active location. Oh well. So that gets me 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, yeah, that gets me 3 here. So now these 2 guys come into play. And I will deal shadow cards. And Thranduil is going to do Thranduil things. So he's defending for 4, I guess, against this guy first. No shadow. Defends. Unexpected courage. And then I will defend with Thranduil again. He's attacking for 4. And it says gets +1 for each. So that's +4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Thranduil dies. Because I can't cancel that shadow effect. It's nightfall. And because he's got the 1 ring, the whole game is over. Blah. So close, so close. I was getting ready to play Host of the Galathrim next round to get through all this stuff. I could have healed some people. I needed this Sylvan Tracker out. Where was the Sylvan Tracker? Or tree people into Sylvan Tracker. This is the thing, like I must have 3 copies of the tracker in here, right? Or at least 2. 1, 2, they were buried. Oh well. Oh well. So I lose. That is a bummer-rella. Okay, well, I'm going to try it again. I'll talk to you later, everybody.